How do I use an open Wi-Fi hotspot safely? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. Question I got some time ago. I've returned to the same coffee shop where I was a few months ago, where I noticed my email had been hijacked or hacked. This time I'm using my phone, but the last time when I noticed the hack, I was using my computer and doing email over an open internet, free Wi-Fi network. Do you think that could be the source of the problem or just a coincidence? I'm still afraid to do email from here. It definitely could have been the source. Unfortunately, it's hard to say for sure. It could have been something else as well. Since we can't really diagnose the past, let's look ahead instead. It can be very safe to send and receive email or even other tasks in a coffee shop or other location, providing unsecured or open Wi-Fi. In fact, I do it all the time. But to ensure your safety, you do have to follow a few very important practices. The problem with open Wi-Fi hotspots is that the connection between your computer and the wireless access point nearby is not encrypted. That means that any data you don't encrypt in some other way is transmitted in the clear, and anyone within range can eavesdrop and see it. Encryption prevents that. Now, there's an important thing to understand to see if your Wi-Fi connection is encrypted or not. If you connect to a hotspot and the operating system on your machine requires a password for that connection to even happen, say with a password provided by the barista or a hotel clerk, that's not really an open Wi-Fi hotspot and you may be okay. When you're required to provide a password before you can even connect, the Wi-Fi access point is using some form of encrypted connection. On the other hand, if you can connect without a password, and then your browser immediately takes you to a web page that says enter a password, like a hotel, or check to accept our terms, as many other open hotspots do, it's not encrypted and it's not secure. It's an open Wi-Fi hotspot. First off, make sure your firewall's on. Fortunately, firewalls are on by default in most operating systems these days. However, when you're at home, you might use your router as your firewall and keep any software firewall on your machine disabled. That works well as the router stops network-based attacks before they ever reach your computer while you're at home. But when you're on an open Wi-Fi hotspot connected directly to the internet via some other machines, that software firewall is critical. Make sure your firewall is enabled before connecting to an open Wi-Fi hotspot. Various network-based threats could be present on an untrusted connection, and it's the firewall's job to protect you from that. If you're using a desktop email program such as Microsoft Office's Outlook, Thunderbird, or others, you do need to make certain that it's configured to use SSL secure connections for sending and downloading email. When you configure each account in your email program, you need to configure your POP3 or IMAP server for accessing your email using SSL, TLS, or SSL/TLS security options, and usually on a different port number. You also need to configure your SMTP server for sending email using SSL, TLS, or SSL/TLS security options, and again, usually using a different port number. How you configure these settings depends on the email program you use. The specific settings will depend on the email service that you're connecting to. Once configured with the proper settings, you can feel secure downloading and sending email using an open Wi-Fi hotspot. If you use a web-based email service like Gmail or Outlook.com or Yahoo or any others, you need to make sure that it's connected via HTTPS. The good news here is that by now, almost all major email services rely on HTTPS. In years past, accessing email using a plain HTTP connection might well have been the source of many open Wi-Fi related hacks. Usernames and passwords were visible to any hacker in range who cared to look. HTTPS prevents that. Any and all web-based, aka cloud services that require you to log in with a username and password should either be used only with HTTPS from start to finish or be avoided completely while you're using an open Wi-Fi hotspot. With more and more services being provided online, most are using HTTPS properly, but you should double check to make sure. Using the cloud is a great way to manage your digital life from wherever you may be, but security remains key. Using HTTPS is critical when you're out and about. Using a VPN. This is really for the road warriors, the folks who are always traveling and online the entire time, often hopping from coffee shop to coffee shop in search of an internet connection as they go. A VPN, or virtual private network, is a service that sets up a securely encrypted tunnel to the internet and routes all of your internet traffic through it. HTTPS or not, SSL secure email configuration or not, all of your traffic is securely tunneled, and no one sharing that open Wi-Fi hotspot can see a thing. These services typically involve a recurring fee. As I said, they're great for road warriors, but perhaps overkill for the rest of us, as long as we follow the other security steps that I've described above. A VPN also has the side effect of protecting you not only from the hacker in the corner, but from the coffee shop IT guy or whoever is providing the internet connection. Finally, it's important to keep your account passwords different from each other and, of course, secure. That way, should one account be compromised by some stroke of misfortune, hackers won't automatically gain access to your other accounts. Remember, even when you use an open Wi-Fi hotspot properly, a hacker can still see the sites you're visiting, even though they can't see what it is you're sending to and from that site. That means they'll know exactly what sites to target next. As I said, it can be safe to use open Wi-Fi, but it's also easy for it to become unsafe. One common and honestly solid alternative is to use your phone instead. While it's technically possible, a mobile/cellular network connection is significantly less likely to be hacked. In fact, I use this solution heavily when I travel. Most mobile carriers offer one or more of these options. Using your mobile device. Many phones or other mobile devices such as iPhones, iPads, Android-based phones, and others, honestly, they're quite capable email and web surfing devices and typically do so via the mobile network. Some will also use Wi-Fi, so be certain you're using the mobile broadband connection for this option to avoid the very security issues we're talking about. Tether your phone. Tethering means you connect your phone to your computer, usually by a USB cable, but in some cases via a Bluetooth connection, and the phone acts as a modem, providing the mobile broadband internet connection. Use a dedicated mobile modem. These are USB devices that attach to your computer and act as a modem to provide a mobile broadband internet connection, much like tethering your phone. Use a mobile hotspot. In lieu of tethering, many phones now have the ability to act as Wi-Fi hotspots themselves. There are also dedicated devices such as the MiFi that are simple dedicated hotspots. Either way, the device connects to the mobile broadband network and provides a Wi-Fi hotspot accessible to one or more devices within range. When used in this manner, these devices act as routers and must be configured securely, including a WPA2 password so as not to be another open Wi-Fi hotspot susceptible to hacking. I have a phone capable of acting as a hotspot as my backup. I find this to be the most flexible option for the way I travel and use my computer. Don't forget physical security. Laptops are convenient because they're portable, and because they're portable, they're also easily stolen. Unfortunately, it only takes a few seconds for an unattended laptop to disappear. I never leave mine alone. Even if I just need to make a quick trip to the restroom, the laptop comes with me. There's just no way of knowing that everybody around me is trustworthy. In that same vein, I also prepare in case my laptop does get swiped. Specifically, that means my hard drive is encrypted, my sensitive data is stored in folders encrypted using Cryptomator. These folders are not mounted unless I need something. 1Password, my password management tool, is set to require a password reprompt after a certain amount of inactivity. And I have two-factor authentication enabled on as many accounts as possible, including 1Password. Computer theft and recovery is a larger topic that's only tangential to using an open Wi-Fi hotspot. Clearly, though, if you are a frequent user of assorted open hotspots in your community or when you travel, a little attention to theft prevention and recovery is worthwhile. Security and convenience are always at odds. As you can see, it's easy to get this stuff wrong since doing it securely takes a little bit of planning and forethought. But it's important. If you're not doing things securely, that guy in the corner with his laptop open could be watching all your internet traffic on the open Wi-Fi connection, including your account username and password as they fly by. And when that happens, you can get hacked. Fortunately, with a little knowledge and preparation, it's relatively easy to be safe. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/4790. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.